today I want to talk about my life in hell, like literal hell. And 2017 was that year for me. 2017 introduced me to a life that I never thought anybody would go through. I I'm not saying that that my story is unique. I'm not saying that I've gone through the worst. No, but it was my worst. It is my story, and it was my worst. So I went through my worst years between 2017 and 2020, and I really choose not to go into the details of 2017. But I will tell you, it was a crash program of pain. 2018, a crash program of pain. 2019, a crash program of pain. And again, I'm gonna say why it wasn't, not why it wasn't, but why it was difficult, or why it was confusing, is because it's both measures. Like, it's pain, and when pain is exerted a lot, then is a bit of soothing. I was telling my kids the other day, I don't know whether it's true, but we used to be told that when a rat is biting you, like a rat bites you a bit, and then I don't know what you call that. It soothes you. Like, it bites and then it bites and then it does that. So I feel like that is how my life was, and I believe that is how it is for many people who are in abusive relationships. And it has also been very hard for me to say that I was in an abusive relationship, and I don't care who believes it or not. It took a lot for me to believe. It took a long time for me to believe that what I was going through was not like normal issues, but it was really it was abuse. And for me to come to terms with that name, or that word, like, to just admit that, okay, this is not an issue. This is abuse. Like, I'm going to show you the wheel of control, and it's called the wheel of power and control. And I want you to look at this wheel, and like, look at all these segments in this wheel. I just look at it. I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to look at this wheel, and I don't know where you are at in that wheel. But I don't want anybody to confuse issues like marital issues with marital abuse. So when you look at this wheel of power and control, I want you to see all these things that have been mentioned in that wheel. And so a lot of these things that I had gone through, not knowing that they were coercive control, not knowing that this is exactly what I was going through. I did not understand. Like, before, I wasn't able to place a finger on exactly what. And many people around me, and until now, I would say honestly, like, many people around me don't even think that, oh my God, that what you went through is abuse. But again, I don't need to be validated by anybody. I know what I know. It's my story, it's my experience. I've gone through it. I know what I felt. I know what I've been through, and that's enough. That's enough. So in the past, I did a lot of recordings. Now between 2017 and 2018, 19, I think I have over 1,000 recordings, because I started doubting my own sanity. I started feeling like I was losing my mind, like I was overthinking, like I was not seeing or hearing things properly. And also, I feel like my partner was also making me doubt a lot of things. Like, I would say something he said, and he would say, I didn't say that. We would talk for like 10 minutes, and then he would say, we spoke for 3 hours. I became the queen of recording, and I just started like recording everything. I was insane. I was so insane. And I started by hiding my phone to record. Then eventually my partner knew. And I mean, he would say, and he says it to date. Like, and I would tell him, record me if you want to. And I think that's crazy. That's crazy. So it would be recording things that I know I won't be believed, and I also felt so unsafe, and I knew that I would never be believed in anything that I say, and just to feel like if anything ever happens, then I have a witness, in my voice recordings. And yeah, so that is why I started recording. Like sometimes I just record and there's nothing. Like anytime I see my partner walk into the house, I would just press record, and that is not healthy at all. That was just a sign that things were so wrong. That things were so bad. So this is from 2017. But the first door opener, or the first deal breaker, was I said friends, an influx of money. But in this season, something that ailed our relationship to death happened, and it was his close relative stealing from my sister. Well, oh my God. Immediately we learned that. I remember we were driving, and when I received a call, and I had a conversation, because I wasn't around, I wasn't in the country that time. Then when I came, and now I got this call, and I was with my spouse, and I said, because it was like really hard on my sister, not what had happened, but like it was a lot for her in her business at that time. So when I had a conversation with my sister, I remember I told my husband, like my husband, then I said, so this has happened, like, again, like, what are we gonna do about it? What steps are we gonna take to, like, support my sister, not like financially, but how are we gonna support her? And he turned and he told me, it's your fault. And it's your fault is something that I had been told over and over again. Like, anything that happened, anytime, anything, like anything at all that happened, it was my fault. I blame you. If anything that is done, it's your fault. If you didn't do this, I wouldn't have done that. If you had done this more, I wouldn't have done that. Like, everything that happened was my fault. And so this time he told me, it's your fault. And he said, I blame you. And he said, if you had not, like, found that job for him, then that wouldn't have happened. And he started giving me reasons why I had found his relative the job. He told me, you didn't believe that he could work with me. You didn't believe that, you just wanted him not to work with me. That's why you got him that job, and he made it so difficult for me. Something that I couldn't even explain to my family. And when they were, like, sorting everything out, I was in the middle. So this is my relative. So I am right in the middle. I don't know what to tell my sister. I don't know how to handle my partner. Like, I went through hell that time. I don't have support. Like, my sister would call me, hey, oh my God, it was so hard. And the many things that I talk about them because, like, I've never had closure. And anybody wondering, why do you talk about these things? You guys, I want closure. I need closure. And because nobody has given me closure, I'm going to give myself closure because I deserve it. I don't care what anybody thinks, what anybody feels. I need closure, and I am giving myself closure. I said I am giving my story, because if I don't give my story is given. Even now, my story is given. I need to respect myself enough to own my story and to give my own story my voice. And I remember it was such a big, I mean, such a huge thing. And it really cracked our marriage. Like, I mean, if our marriage was this cracked, that just like opened it up like this, and a lot of things were falling through the crack. So I remember his relative repenting, and this time my grandma had died, and my grandma was the only surviving parent we had. Like, I would say she was now the matriarch of in the family, because my maternal, like, everybody had died, like both like from both sides. And so when my grandmother died, like it was such a huge blow, because she was the like the only covering that we had at that time. Like, as a parent, like, that was now the topmost person, you know. And so we are at my grandma's funeral, and my sister had a partner, and my sister, like, was hands off on my relative's story, and she was like, I'm not gonna do this. But the partner did not want to let go of that. So my partner, knowing that this relative would come to my my grandmother's funeral, he came with police, and they arrested the guy. So my grandma hadn't been, like, buried. She was being lowered. Whew. And I remember when I was told, you know, when I was I love saying when I was tapped and was told, like, oh, this has happened. I didn't finish burying my grandma. I followed. And why I followed was because I did not want to be tagged bad. I did not want to be in bad records. And these are things that I totally regret. Like, these are the things that I totally regret. And this story came up just the other day when I was saying, like, this is what happened in our relationship, and my partner corrected and said no. And I mean, when I say the other day, I mean, like, just the other day, like, just this year, just the other day. And he said, no, that is not what happened. The start was this, and now he gave this story. So that is why I'm very confident to give this story, because if I skip it, then I wouldn't be authentic enough. So so I followed through, and I went to the police station. And the reason why I was doing that, again, I've said, I just didn't want, I wanted to please people, like I've always done. So I went, and long story short, I left my family, burying my grandma. I never went back. To my, to the burial site. You know, the way people are left with relatives talking, and I mean, like, just, I didn't get closure. I didn't get closure for that. So I followed these other people, and I just called my siblings, and I said, hey, pass by here. I mean, let's see what we can do. And long story. So when we went home, a lot happened. Then there was supposed to be an agreement of how money was gonna be paid. And I remember I went to the police station with my partner and the mom, and the closest person, like the relative's wife, didn't even come. You know, I was not as intelligent as she was, you know, to not to go. So when I went to the police station, there was an agreement of some money that was gonna be paid, and it was going to be $400 per month for like 11 months. So when we went home, I asked my partner, like, I hope that you're not gonna pay this money, because clearly we cannot afford this money. We can't afford to pay this money. And my partner said, of course, I mean, how can I even afford this? How can I even afford this? And knowing him, I went to our closest friends that time, and I told them, like the same day, the same burial day, I went there and they called him and I said, this is what happened. Yeah, it was on the burial day or on the day we agreed. I don't know. Yeah, it was on the burial day. I went and I said, like, I hope that this guy is not gonna pay this money. And these were my words. You guys, like, be very careful of what you say. And this were my words. I said, like, if this happens, it's gonna dig a grave for our marriage. That is what I said. In Swahili, I said, itachimbia hii ndoa kaburi. So, and he said, no, of course I can't pay. So by that time, we had a lot of like financial responsibilities, including, this is what my partner loves to say, that he was paying for me my university money. So I had taken a loan of like $2,000, and from my dad's friend, because I mean, I was almost not doing my exams, and so my friend was like, hey, come, I show you what you're gonna do. And so long story short, we talked to the dad, and the dad gave me $2,000, and so he was supposed to pay $500 every month. So this is something we had committed to. So this is my husband paying for me. But you know what? Like, this was used against me the entire time. Like, it was used against me the whole time. I say that I paid for that money with my blood. Like, I truly did. So I told this couple, like, we are paying for this, our kids, we still had like a really huge arrears for our kids' fees that time. Then so that time money has not like really come in, but there's a flow of money that has started coming in. Then my partner said, I'm not gonna pay. I mean, how can I even pay? Then we went home, long story short. So I kept asking, so this money is supposed to be paid by 10th of August. So what is gonna happen? And he kept telling me, I'm calling for a meeting, because my plan was like, I was saying, like, let's call both families, let's call for a meeting. Let's all assist each other, because we cannot carry this burden alone. So he kept saying, I'm going to call for a meeting. And sometimes I think he would lie to me. I spoke to so and so, we're going to meet this day. So on 8th of August, I sent my baby to go and ask for, her birthday was like the following day. I tell her, go and ask daddy to give you money for the cake. And that is when I learned, he said, because what his plan was. So he just shouted at my daughter and he said, I do not have money for your, he came outside, that he was upstairs. So he came outside and he said, I do not have money for the cake. The money that I have is for paying for my relatives, like debt, whatever that debt was like. And I was in shock. I was in shock. I went up and I was like, hey, are you saying you're paying for this money? And he asked me, is this your money? Am I going to be using your money? So I'm just saying, this is the same thing that happened, like at the beginning, like, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to involve you, I'll play games with you, I'll be telling you I'm not doing. Then when it comes to that time, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it by force. And so for me to communicate like how hurt I was, the following day I didn't go to church. So this is the first time in my life ever that I'm not going to church. The very, very first time. So I don't go to church. So I want him to see how hurt I am, because I'm trying to talk to him and he's closed up. I'm trying to ask, okay, then what is the plan? How are you going to do this? How are you going to manage this? He is not going to say anything. So in the morning I wake up and I don't go to church. Huge communication. Like, I'm pastor's wife. Like, this is the first time ever. So he comes in the evening and he says, church was good. You've never had such a good service. Oh my God, today was the best service. And long and short of it, I don't go to church for 6 weeks, because we don't talk about this thing. Because I know, like, he doesn't want me to talk because he doesn't want me to interfere with his payment. So after 6 weeks, I again came, and I'm the one who apologized, and I said, I'm so sorry that that I've absconded, like, going to church for all this time, but this is what I've been waiting for you to talk to me. I've been waiting for you to resolve this. And he was like, yeah, very good. Now you've come back to your senses. I had come back to my senses. And he said, okay, I forgive you. And I went back to church the following Sunday. And when I went back to church, like, he had changed everything. A lot of things had changed. Like, oh my God, this was the beginning again of so many things. Now I felt like a stranger. Like, in 6 weeks, a lot of things had changed. And again, I said, call me bad, call me whatever, like, I did not know how to communicate. I did not know what methods to use to communicate. I did not know how to drive my points home. Like, I had done, like, everything that I knew I could. So yeah, so that was the first deal breaker. Then after that, I don't know how, like, now he started getting so much money. I have to take a break. That story is so